Alright, I'm gonna make another video with a different game. Um, so the Vampire the Masquerade TTRPG, I've never played, super interested in it. I don't have a lot of TTRPG friends that will play anything but D&D 5th edition, which is kind of frustrating, but here we are. So, full disclosure, never played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It's on my radar, never played it. Swan Song is trash. I got roped into buying that on the Xbox, and it is not good. This, however, is pretty cool. I played it a little while ago, and I just picked it up on Steam because it's on sale for like $4. So yeah, we're gonna do this. The world of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse, etc., etc., etc. Super, super cool to me. I wish I knew more people that played TTRPGs that would want to play Vampire the Masquerade. It feels like any game that I want to play that isn't D&D 5e, I have to run in order to do it, which kind of takes the fun out of it, but kind of, sort of, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to play this. Yeah, let's do it. Do I want to be a brouhaha? A Ventru or a Torador? I'm gonna go with a Bruja. Sure. Let's go with Eric with a K. Fancy. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about my fate back when I was a human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. That we're, excuse me, that we are all designers of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not the face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in. I can't read, apparently. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate, you decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. That's a reference to Icarus. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. She was a ninth generation kindred just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me, the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggart and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate, a message saying, you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and no one can shape it if given the right... and one can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I have learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. That's in Philadelphia. It's also in New York, because we're in New York. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it is so rare for you to visit New York 3 times in the last Did I read that right? It is so rare for you to visit New York 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? And you're never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York. And I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate rarely exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. I left my coffee downstairs. Ha! That's how it begins. The music is pounding and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, then the realization that you have nobody to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. One Facebook search for your local events later, and you found just the thing for your malaise. Jesus. Short subway ride, and you find yourself at the club just outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you. More like a slightly refurbished warehouse, but hey, at least the drinks are cheap. The DJ seems to really know his shit too, alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit crowd pleasers, expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then 2. Usually you'd feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight you find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours, other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. It must be some thin pants. Thought pops into your head. From the outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare, but here, in the thick of it, it becomes exhilarating. See, in my headcanon, I'm like, this is the opening of the Blade. And you're not even on a pill tonight. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body. She keeps bumping into you. Something tells you it only seems incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever because you know all too well what the next day holds. Work. Waking up, getting dressed for work. I told you! The commute, the 9 to 5 grind. 9 to 5? Well, that's only 8 hours. That will make you just enough money to pay the rent and keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. And with Jessica moving out, it'll all be coming out of your pocket. You run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to the regret that you did this. Ain't that the truth, man? Never mind. You spot the Latina again. She is now next to another guy hitting it off. Your chance of not going to bed alone, gone. Just like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shot down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom. You take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face obsessively, over and over again. A voice in the past echoes in your mind. Citizen slave. I don't know what that is. This is Jessica. I'm not going to let Jessica voice. I've never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all of my relationships up to this point were test runs. A shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem. We've all been there. We've all had a Jessica, I think. But this feels right, finally. Shut up, Jess. Shut up, Meg. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need to smoke. Pass me a light. What do you mean, cops took the lighter? There's one in your mouth. Just shut up, Meg. This is not you. Not anymore. Oh, fuck off. This is so like you. Acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. I like to think she snapped when she said that. Yeah, now that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And there she is, the Latina from before, in the men's room. Big hair, don't care. She says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second or two, and then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, "Yeah." That's a little LA Knight reference. You start to talk. It quickly becomes evident that she's into politics, and you are eager to please. This is not a role play, because I would be like, fucking out of there at this point. Like, no, man. If the first thing you want to do is talk about politics, I'm fucking gone, dude. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organizing for all matters of causes online. So basically, you suck. The status quo sucks. There must be something better, she agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories. You have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, even watch the same YouTube channels. Your goals are aligned. You're both miserable and perpetually on the internet. She's a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. The noisy club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Just as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said by Tattoo. Tattoo! I get it. Of course, you chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. Yeah. Sorry. It's chilly outside, but soon enough you find yourself too invested in listening to the girl's voice to care about anything else. You realize you've been holding hands for a while. Oh, that's cute. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple and a drunk staring intently at his own feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear a voice asking if she'd like to crash at your place. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding your hand, the woman leads you up the stairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters, though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once does she lose the initiative. She rolled a high initiative. Your hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange. It didn't look like she was cold outside, but now her skin feels eerily cold. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hands off her. She kisses your neck. You are overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. Impersonating me. All that I see. Absolute horror. The taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice saying, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave this city in one piece. But don't worry. With my blood and your principles, you're going to do just fine." She slams the motel room door behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on the soiled, pungent mattress for some time, minutes, hours, before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening. It hits you with a big hunger. It grips you by the throat and makes your insides shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. You crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in sundering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. You black out. This isn't the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. Somebody curses at you, a small, naked, buff dude holding a short leather whip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. You called him goofy. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. You black out again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this is one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there, a woman. Her arms tied to the bed frame, an eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. This time you see it happen. You want to stop but can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck. You drink. Blood. You're drinking blood. You could swear you feel her life force escaping her body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. The guy on the floor, though? You double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but you can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart is not beating. You put 2 fingers on your wrist, but you feel no pulse. Same thing on the neck, nothing. There's no breathing. There's no breathing coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call an ambulance. For yourself, at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? Stranger enters the room. Tisk, tisk, tisk. What a mess. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. Hey man, this isn't what it looks like. That's good to hear, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're in a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head at him in mock concern. Murder? Assault? That's 25 to life, if you're lucky, but since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night, otherwise I might not have gotten here in time. Come on, the sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around when it does. The sun? There you go. The sun? What's it matter when the sun comes up? Ah, so you don't even know. You should be glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you and starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now listen to me. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you, and going by experience, they tend to fall into 2 categories. First are the smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. And then, there are the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly and without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness, one that inspired me to come up with the 3-strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes, and you're out. Say I understand, sir. Now. You've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something else. The man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. So, I would imagine he's very confused right now, and we'll just say this. Can't you just tell me what the hell's going on? No, and that's strike 1, by the way. Moving on, is there anyone you'd want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're alright? He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason the sight sends a chill down your spine. There's something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you. Jerry. Jerry. Yes. And who is this Jerry? Springer. Lawler. Your frantic mind is drawing a blank. Well, Jerry is a man of many faces. The stranger gives you a tired stare. Lying to me is a strike, whelp. Jessica, my ex-girlfriend. She kind of hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. The stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let her know you're alright, give me your phone number. I'll have someone take care of it. Discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I would suggest that you cooperate. He proudly displays his fangs again. You've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but by now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight, and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think that's enough lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you, but I can do so in the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat, so are you going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? Yeah. You weigh your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. You take one final look at the woman who's just coming to, at the body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on a small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme say, "I just want to go home," as you're walking by. What movie is that? I don't know. I'm a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, so yeah, I don't know. Alright, moving on. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'm making a run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. You can't. You can either get inside my car, and I'll get you to where you need to be, or you can try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? Clear as day. Day, huh? He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. After you. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car and get in the back seat. The door locks behind you. Inside the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. This is the afterlife, isn't it? You're not entirely wrong, but it's not what you think. He weighs his next words carefully. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or my role in tonight's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. Man, this is bullshit. Why does everything have to be a fucking riddle? Well, riddle me this. Who's gonna get their teeth smashed into their brain if he doesn't shut up? Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. You drive in silence for about 20 more minutes. As exhaustion catches up with you, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually the car stops and the door opens. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. The man points to a nearby door. Go in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan on the wall. This is all kinds of fucked up. Trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Just know one thing. Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time, I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck in here for a night is a really good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. You step inside, the stranger nods. Good night. He closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. You decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag in there filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup, You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one back at the hotel with the bound woman. Oh, right. You killed the man tonight. Or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. The girl at the nightclub, Jess might have to put her up, or Jess might have put her. Let's try this again. The girl at the nightclub, Jess might have put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly in on it too. Now he's back with him, and they're all laughing their asses off. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep it going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting away into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that that's how death feels. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 straight hours. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge, the bag is still in there. You take a closer look at it. If it is soup, then its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out and take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating, but now it's almost... No, not almost. It's enticing. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland, reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be in the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually, you find that you've emptied it entirely. You look at the info pressed into the side of the bag. 400 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when an image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? Alright, well, that is the end of part 1 of what will likely be a series, because this is a pretty fun game. Plus, I get to read a lot, and reading's cool. So if you dug this, like the video, give a big thumbs up, and subscribe for more content. So Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries in New York, Rob 138. Catch you on the flip side.